Alright guys, we're back with part 2. Now let's get right into it. Starting out with this, I know I already mentioned this thing. This is going to be my swim bait rod. It was the first rod up there, so I basically just decided to start off with it. Lose Laser SG, speed stick, blah blah. You guys probably already know I talked about it previously. Going to be mounting a round reel on that for swim baits. Next is my spinning rod. I don't really like to go too expensive with spinning rods just because I don't really think it's necessary. Basically like an old crappy Shakespeare reel. Some drunk guy actually left this over at our pond. Like they left like a bunch of broken fishing stuff and there's a bunch of crap. And the rod that was on this reel, it was broke. And I went over there and there was a bunch of beer cans just right there. So I'm like, these guys had to have got drunk. So it's basically that reel. The handle, it didn't come with a handle, so I basically took a handle off one of my older spinning rods and stuck it on there. And it works fine. I'm really happy with it. I got it on a Bass Pro Training Special spinning rod, 7 foot, medium powered, medium action spinning rod, obviously. 6 pound test on there, 6 pound test mono. This thing for like light drop shots on. They got an 1/8 ounce weight, so it's real lightweight. It's real hard to cast those bait casters. So DMC spin shot hooks are definitely a must-have because you don't want to get all that line twist when you're drop shotting. So it's basically set up. You guys will notice on my spinning rod I got a rubber band on there. Sometimes this hook keeper just won't do the trick, and I'll just hook it on that rubber band. Just as a little hook keeper there. So there's that. Next, oh gosh, scratch the ceiling there. These rods are so tall. Got my Carolina rig rod. This is the rod I solely use for Carolina rigs. This is an old Daiwa Capricorn. I got it from a friend who moved down south to Texas. Carolina rig rod. I got a 3/4 ounce weight, bead, and swivel on there. Lizard, probably one of the most well-known Carolina rig baits. 7 foot, medium heavy Daiwa Jupiter. Another Jupiter is another one I got on sale. I got like 4 rods in that sale. I got about, see, these are probably worth about 50 each, so I got 2 of them. That's 100. I also got 2 KVDs. This is 2 KVD team rods that are worth 100 each. So it's basically like $300 worth of rods for $100. So I obviously had to jump on that Daiwa Capricorn. Carolina rig rod, 12 pound mono. I don't really use anything but 12 pound mono most of the time. But I upsized to jigs, because when you're dragging those jigs along the rocks and stuff, you're definitely going to want to have some kind of strength in your line, just because when you take casts, after you've been dragging on those rocks, you might snap some jigs off. So that's why I upsized that line there. You definitely need to break it in, though. I always stretch my line out just to get it to break in as I'm fishing. So there's that. Next is punching rod. 7'6" Lew's American Hero. It's lure rated 7.6 heavy. The lure rating is a half to 2 ounce. It's another one that can take real heavy sinkers like the Seismic Warhead weight. You see it has 1.5 ounce weight, flipping hook, straight chain hook on there. And then I got Lew's Tournament MB, $140. Worth that. I just had some extra money, so I just dumped it in there. Tournament MB Lew's gets the job done. It's got centrifugal brake, as I'll show you right here. You guys probably going to want to see centrifugal brakes anyway, so I figure I'd show you. See, it's got those little white pins in there. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet little reel. I've heard a lot of good things about Lew's, so I basically decided to just try them out, and I'm very impressed with this thing so far. 10 bearings, real smooth. 65 pound Power Pro on there. It's basically punching setup and stuff. I would use this for swim baits, but like I said, I'm expecting to get a round reel on that thing for swim baits specifically. So we got that. Next, basically my primary cranking setup. This is a Revo winch, 12 pound test line. It's got 180 yards, 200 yard line capacity, so you're basically going to get a lot further cast some of those heavier baits. Got a BPS egg on there. As you guys know, it's always will be one of my most favorite baits. And the thing is, it doesn't really cost expensive. It doesn't cost like $30 like some Mega Bass crankbaits do. It only costs about $4 a piece. It's probably one of the best $4 crankbaits out there, without a doubt, hands down. I've never had any bait that's for that value that's gonna be this, especially for ponds, because normally ponds are real shallow. You can get like a square bill, it'll plunge right down in all the weeds and stuff. This thing runs right above the weeds. Even during summer, you can still fish this in ponds in the summer, even when there's a lot of algae and stuff on there. On it, I got a 7'4" medium heavy Quantum Team KVD rod. You guys probably want a lure rating on this too. 1/4 to 1.5 ounce. This is like one of their KVD's Team cranking rods. So it's basically a crank stick for those that are on the budget. It's got a really soft tip. As you can see, it's slightly bent, and this thing bends real easily just because it's almost like a glass rod, but as you can see, I'm just tapping it. That thing's wiggling. It bends real easily because it's got a real soft bend for those reaction baits, those deep divers, and all that other stuff. So I believe it has some kind of special graphite or something on here. Can't really remember what it's called if I can find it on here. It's like a TCS or something, I think. Like, this is like, he designed this for crankbaits and stuff like that. Can't really find it, but just feel free to look it up on Tackle Warehouse. This is where I ordered this thing from. So this is basically my crank stick. Revo Winch Quantum Team KVD crank stick. Next we got, this is probably my newest reel. This is probably one of my newest reels, Quantum Energy. Cabela's had these on sale. Retail for about $150, $160. Got it for $75. Black Friday killer deal. It just looks sick with those gray and orange accents on there. This is another KVD rod, Team KVD 6'6". This is another one I got in that clearance sale. This is this Signature Series line. This isn't really a special crank stick, but I tend to like the tips on these 6'6" rods just for like reaction baits, like crankbaits and Olympus crankbaits and stuff. You'll see in the next setup. 631 gear. You guys probably don't want to see this one too, but this also has centrifugal brake. It's a little bit more different system than some of the other ones. It doesn't really have those pins. It has like a disc type system, almost like a magnetic system, but it's on the inside, as you'll see here in a sec. These aren't really the easiest to do because you gotta push down this button and then you gotta make sure it's all the way pushed down. As you can see, it's not really the easiest thing in the world to do. And there we go, got it. As you can see, it's got like a disc type brake. That red pin, if you want to adjust your brake, you spin that red thing, and it has a little red dot. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's got a little red dot on there, so when you want to mark your brake settings, I guess. And to close it, you also have to have the button depressed too. So there's that. It's also got a magnetic brake. A lot of modern bait casters do. The newer bait casters starting to have centrifugal and magnetic. Even Lew's, they have a LFS or something. I think it's like $100. It has a magnetic and centrifugal. So a lot of the more affordable reels are starting to have those centrifugal brakes. 12-pound mono, square bill rod, basically my square bill stick. And that's that. Next, we got one of my cheapest, but one of the most impressive cheap reels that I own. This is the Abu Garcia Pro Max, and for $70, I think this reel performs just as good, if not better, than my winch. It's that good. If you got $70 laying around, go to your local Walmart and pick it up. Just make sure you check out all the reels. Just make sure you're getting the right one, because some of them don't really have the right bearings and stuff in them. Sometimes people mess with them. Another 6'6" KVD. This is another one I got in that Walmart clearance sale. This is my lipless crankbait rod. Got one of my MTB baits is the Lucky Craft. You can see my MTB at unboxings lipless rattle bait. Go check that out. 12-pound mono, and you're pretty much good to go. That's my loopless crankbait rod. And I already covered these next 4, but I'll just go over them a little bit more just so you guys remember. 7-foot heavy Cabela's Pro Guide Shimano Chronarch CF4, 65-pound braid. Use that for frogging. And this thing is basically my blade baits, chatterbaits, spinner baits, tailspins, spoons. Use that for this thing. 7-foot Powell Diesel. I didn't show you this part of the reel yet. This 13 Fishing Inception. It's got another centrifugal brake reel, and it's another one that has those disc type brakes in them. Like, it doesn't really have the traditional like 6-pin style in there, 4-pin style. Got that regular. Doesn't have the regular brakes. It's got the disc brake in it, which is pretty interesting. I mean, I used to have one of the cheaper disc brake reels, but every time I cast, it would always go back to 0. Like, I would say I tune it to like 4, I cast it and go back to, let's say, 1 or 0. So it's pretty annoying just having to change that. But so far, with a lot of these more high-end disc type centrifugal brake reels, I haven't really had any issues at all, and I'm very happy. People say his side plate sometimes comes off the 13 Fishing Inception. Hasn't really been an issue to me. It has not come off on me one time. It's overall really impressive reel, especially for 120 bucks. But anyway, some of this thing's toughest competitors are Casitas. I might get another one of those for tap waters or something. We'll see how that goes in the next couple years or so. So there's that, and you guys probably already seen these next 2 here. Shimano Corrado. You guys didn't really see the centrifugal brakes on this thing, so I might as well show you these. It's got these unique pins. It's got a 4-pin system. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this thing by blocking the light or something. You can kind of see, but it's got. You basically slide the pin over instead of pushing it down like you normally would. Just slide it over. It has the off-on markings. So when it's off, you can't move it out. You can't because it's locked. But when it's on, you can. And that's generally what applies the friction to the spool so you don't get a bunch of birds in this. So there's that. It's got an escape hatch on there. There's that. Basically, Shimano Corrado. 721, 200i, basically. Like I said, I already mentioned all these. And the one to end this list is the Sitka. This is another one you guys have already seen. It's a 631, 200e Sitka 20-pound mono on it. Like I said, heavier line. Because when you're dragging those baits on that rocks, you definitely want something heavier. Something that'll absorb a lot of that sharp rocks and stuff. You don't want your line to snap when you're in the middle of a cast, and then your jig flies off 15 feet out where you can't get it. So I've had that happen a couple times, but since I've switched to 20 hasn't been an issue. I used to use 12, but now I use 20. So that's basically it. And basically my rod and reel arsenal. Like I said, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more.